Hey, what's up YouTube? Red and Bordy here, back with another New World video. Today we're going to talk about everything we know so far about the Void Gauntlet, Bordy. So the first time we came into official interaction with the Void Gauntlet was at Gamescom. So tell us a little bit about the images we found.
Yeah, man. So the images that we've seen at Gamescom were pretty cool. And then they also posted a few more after that. So the Void Gauntlet is it's a gauntlet grasping a ring. And there are some really, really cool images of this thing. And the aesthetic of the Void Gauntlet just looks sick, menacing and awesome. Yes. And I love the ones that kind of have the fur on the top of the Void Gauntlet. There's like kind of a wolf's head on one of them that looks absolutely incredible. There's some that kind of have more of a sleek aesthetic that look really cool too. Those look like they may be some in-game type of gauntlets, I guess. I don't know. They just look really, really good. There's some with like bone on them. One of them looks like it kind of has some disease or some blight going on there, which looks really cool. One of them has a purple glowing aesthetic. Overall, Red, they look incredible, and I am very, very pleased with how the Void Gauntlet is shaping up, man. It looks dope.
So yesterday, well, when you're watching this, I guess it's been further back than yesterday, but you can go over to New World Fans. We posted an article about all the new weapons that are potentially coming to New World. And of course, one of those was the Void Gauntlet. So we learned that the Void Gauntlet is going to scale primarily off of intellect and have a focus as a secondary stat. Now, if it follows the rest of the trends, you'll get the 90% scaling off of intellect and the 65% off of focus. And this was confirmed in the video that leaked. We also got the equip animation for the gauntlet, which is sick, dude. It has this dark magic swirling around it, kind of like the ice gauntlet, but like with this void, like necromantic type of aesthetic, dude. And it looks sick, bro. I am a big warlock guy, and I can't wait to get this thing equipped. And
absolutely.
Bordy, we do have the 6 abilities as well that someone put out on Reddit. So we're going to go through these. Obviously, these aren't completely confirmed yet. New World has not come out and said, but these are very well fleshed out with tooltips. So I think potentially there might be some tweaking, but these are going to be the abilities, the active abilities that we're going to see with the Void Gauntlet. So Bordy, take it away with the first ability.
All right, so the first ability we have here is called Decaying Orb, and it fires an unblockable orb that passes through enemies and inflicts disintegrate, dealing X% weapon damage per second and reducing damage absorption by X% for X seconds. At max range, it transforms into a healing orb and returns healing friendlies for X% weapon damage per second for X seconds. I really like that, Red. It's kind of like a boomerang effect. Yeah, it's like damages and then heals on the way back. I really like that. So as you progress into Decaying Orb, you're also going to get a increased percentage of a mana per enemy hit. It's going to also slow your enemies already afflicted by any debuff, reducing their movement speed by X% for X seconds. And then if you press the ability input again to detonate the orb within a certain amount of meters explosion radius, depending on the orb's phase, the explosion will either damage enemies and apply a stack of disintegrate, or it's going to heal friendlies for X% weapon damage. I think that's pretty cool too, man. There's a lot of utility in that one ability, Decaying Orb, right there, and it's pretty interesting, man. You can do damage and heal, and it sounds like as you use that input again, depending on the orb's phase, you're gonna have to time it right to determine if you're gonna do damage or heal. I like that a lot. There's kind of some skill involved there. So we also have the next ability here is called Draining Tether. So you're gonna fire a projectile that tethers you to an enemy. It's gonna weaken the enemy, and it's gonna empower you for X amount or X percentage per second. And then the tether ends if the target moves beyond 10 meters. So successful hits against tethered targets reduce other Void Gauntlet cooldowns by X%. If you go on down and upgrade this ability once, if you upgrade it again, you get a X% mana regeneration while the tether is active. And then the last upgrade to this ability is you regain X% weapon damage as health if the tethered target dies, which is pretty cool. I like that too. So a lot of ways to self-heal sounds like here with these first 2 abilities. So what about the third ability and the key passive here, Red?
Yes, so the third ability in this particular tree is called Essence Rupture. Fire a projectile that inflicts Essence Rupture for X amount of seconds, healing anyone that hits the target for X percentage damage done.
So cool.
Insanely powerful, dude. You can kind of start to see, and we'll mention another ability later that kind of makes you think that the Void Gauntlet could be a way to tank even, or a nice back bar weapon for a tank. So
maybe.
here's some mods for Essence Rupture. Players additionally receive stamina when hitting the afflicted target. So again, another good thing for tanks. Friendlies within X amount of meters of the affected target are healed for X% of your weapon damage when Essence Rupture ends. Another good healing ability there for a support type role. The final or the ultimate passive in this tree is called Void Conversion. Gain a stack of Void Essence per successful ability hit. At X amount of stacks, your next successful heavy attack will instantly reset all Void Gauntlet cooldowns and remove all stacks of Void Essence. So, dude, Bordy, a very powerful ultimate there to cap off this tree. Why don't you tell us about the passives located in this particular Void Gauntlet Mastery tree?
Yeah, so some of the passives you're going to get is you're going to get a % cooldown reduction on successful light attacks against targets that are more than X meters away. You're going to get a % of your mana when successfully hitting targets with light attacks while all abilities are on cooldown. Your mana costs are going to be reduced by X% while above X% mana. Cooldowns are reduced by a certain percentage per second while performing Harvest. Successful heavy attacks against enemies below a certain percentage health restores an additional percentage of the damage done as health. That's pretty nice. Successful heavy attacks increase the duration of your applied non-crowd control debuffs by a certain percentage, and then dodging with full mana resets the lowest active cooldown. So there's a lot of ways to reduce your cooldowns within these passives, it seems like, and then there is also some additional ways to heal there too. So very support-ish type of tree, it sounds like.
Yeah, nice balance between ways to kind of hurt your enemy and heal your allies. So I love that, dude. So here are the next, this is a separate tree, obviously the opposite tree in the mastery skill tree of the Void Gauntlet. And the first ability here, and another kind of tanky ability, is a Void Blade, dude. Summon a blade of void energy that converts your basic attacks to melee attacks. Tap basic attack to perform a quick slash that deals X% weapon damage, or hold it to perform a thrust attack that deals X% weapon damage. Both attacks inflict disintegrate on each successful hit, dealing X% of weapon damage per second and reducing damage absorption by X% for X amount of seconds. Again, damage mitigation there on the Void Gauntlet. So here are the mods for Void Blade. X% critical damage on Void Blade attacks. You will gain Fortify on start, increasing damage absorption for X% for X amount of seconds. And successful heavy attacks heal self for X% of weapon damage per disintegration stack on target, dude. So again, the Void Blade seems like an amazingly cool ability, Bordy. Here's the next ability in this tree, the Punishing Chamber. Summon a circle of void energy at your feet, dealing X% weapon damage per second to enemies and grants some power to friendly, increasing their damage by X% within the radius. This lasts 8 seconds. Your Void Gauntlet mana costs are reduced while inside of the Punishing Chamber, and then X% stamina per second for self and friendlies while standing in the Punishing Chamber here, Bordy. So tell us real quick here. This ability is used by one of the mobs in the game over there at Brightwood. They have Alchemy Island, is what we call it. But dude, we had the Void Geist over there that would trap you in a little bit of a void circle, and if you went outside of that, you got stunned. So that animation, I wonder, is similar to Punishing Chamber.
Yeah, sounds very similar for sure. And I think that we've seen that before with other mobs that have similar abilities that's incorporated into the game. And I think that's something that we can kind of continue to see. Maybe we will. Maybe that's kind of a telltale sign, Red. Some of the mobs that have some of these abilities or some of these weapons we haven't seen, maybe we'll see some of that stuff as players. Yeah. So the other two abilities in this tree, one of them is called Petrifying Scream. You're going to unleash a void infused scream. It's going to deal a certain % weapon damage, and it's going to inflict root to enemies 4 meters in front of you, disabling their movement for a specified duration. So your root duration is increased by a few seconds on targets below a certain percentage health, and then you're also going to gain Fortify for each enemy hit, increasing damage absorption by a certain percentage for a certain amount of seconds. So the key passive here, or the ultimate in this tree, is called Void Aura. And I like this one, Red. On successful ability hit, gain a stack of Void Essence. At 6 stacks, you're going to consume all of those stacks, and you're going to gain an aura on yourself that's going to heal your friendlies for a certain percentage of your weapon damage, and it's going to deal a certain percent of weapon damage per second to enemies that are within that aura, dude. I like that a lot. That seems incredibly strong. Now, we don't know how much damage it's going to deal or how much it's going to heal for. I guess we kind of do your certain percentage of your weapon damage, but we don't fully know those numbers yet, so we don't know exactly how strong that's going to be, but it sounds incredible, man. I love that that key passive for that ultimate in that tree.
Yes, and these Void Essences seem to be a theme throughout the entire mastery tree of the Void Gauntlet, Bordy, because, you know, and we'll see how these stacks, they seem to be used in different ways depending on the different abilities that you choose. Here are the passives real quick in that tree. So you'll get X% weapon damage while below X mana. So almost the opposite of the other tree where you want to kind of be at max level. Is X% crit chance while above X% health, X% crit chance while all abilities are on cooldown, X% cooldown reduction on all abilities on critical hit, gain in power while casting abilities within X amount of an enemy, increasing damage for X%. So that just promotes like the Void Blade and how to use that. Or Harvest additionally restores X% stamina per second. On critical hit, gain health equal to X% damage done. And then X% cooldown reduction for all abilities when successfully hitting enemies that are affected by X or more debuff stacks, assumingly from the Void Gauntlet, because as we know, the spear used to scale off of every debuff on the enemy, and that got nerfed pretty quickly, dude. So I'm sure the Void Gauntlet is just from the Void Gauntlet, but maybe not, dude. And then they'll just, I mean, if it's not on launch, it will definitely be about a week later because that weapon is going to be extremely broken. Bordy, dude, it's been fun talking to you about the Void Gauntlet. Dude, I will be a Void Gauntlet main through and through once this weapon comes out because it's right up my alley. And dude, it seems like we basically know almost everything about it now. So it's just a matter of time, I think, Bordy, after launch before we get to actually use the Void Gauntlet in game.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see how much these abilities change or if these abilities are going to be accurate at all whenever launch hits. But sure. I would imagine they probably are going to be pretty close. They seem like it. The abilities are very well fleshed out already here. So I'm excited to see what it's like, man. Unlike you, I probably won't be a Void Gauntlet main. It's not really my cup of tea, but the weapon does sound fun. I will definitely be using it some. But you know, not really for me.
Let's be real. We'll both have every weapon leveled eventually.
Well, so. True. Most definitely. Yeah, without a doubt. Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the subscription button, the notification bell for more New World content like this. And we're very thankful to our Patreons. You'll see your name after the video. And Bordy, it's been a great one. And guys, we will see you in the next New World video.